Today, I'm doing the work revolution, and I'm continuing on what I began last week, activity versus productivity. Last week, we began our journey into the work revolution. We have discovered that man was basically created to have dominion and mastery over the earth and its resources, and that is a work mandate. We must use the earth and its resources to save lives and improve the quality of life on this earth. But as we do that, the Bible warns us in Luke chapter 12, verse 15, that we should take heed and beware of covetousness, for a man's life does not consist in the abundance of things he possesseth. So no matter what you possess, your soul is more valuable than any possession. You may buy aeroplanes, you may build skyscrapers, you may have estates, but your soul is worth much more than all those things. Material things cannot be compared to your soul. And so as you pursue a lot of things, remember to look after your soul. So Luke chapter 12, verse 15, teaches us that true happiness and fulfillment in life do not come from material wealth or the accumulation of possessions. In other words, Jesus Christ is teaching us that we should not confuse happiness with material abundance, because life has a much deeper value than things. Is somebody hearing me? Life is more than things. Your faith must first draw you to God. You don't use your faith for things. Your faith must first draw you closer to God, to build a relationship with God. It is important to remember that greed and covetousness can cause us to lose sight of what really matters in life. And I've seen many people, as they are blessed with material things, they replace God with those things. And they stop prayer, they stop fasting, they stop reading the word, they stop fellowshipping, and they stop giving. So anytime you want to see the spiritual state of somebody, find out, no matter what station you are in life, is the word still important? Is prayer still important? Is fellowship still important? Is winning souls still important? And is giving still important to you? Don't deceive yourself. If any of these things leave your life, you risk your way. It is possible to acquire everything and lose your own souls. What shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? So we need to reevaluate our priorities and consider what truly matters in our lives. So when Jesus in John chapter 6, verse 26, he confronts the crowd's misguided motivations, pointing out that they are seeking him for the wrong reasons. He says, labor not for the meat that perisheth. Labor not. Because there's a meat that only perisheth. But he says, labor for the meat which endureth unto everlasting life, which the Son of Man shall give unto you, for him hath the Father sealed. So there is a satisfaction in life you only get when you come to Jesus and he occupies the central part of your life. Nothing else can give you satisfaction. It can only give you fleeting pleasure. But after a while, it's a thing. It must go back to the earth. It cannot fill your life. So as you go through life and you want things, the prayer, the word, the fellowship, you see, becomes an anchor that guides you in your pursuits. That you don't just look for things, but you look for life. And in the last days, the love of many people will grow cold. And they will try to substitute material things as a sign of blessing from God. But God will never bless you to replace himself. Should I say it again? God will never bless you to replace himself. He will never bless you to change his word. So if anything stops you from fellowshipping, if anything stops you from following your pursuits after God, coming for department meetings, you now find going to the beach or going to other places better than prayer and word. Careful. If anybody comes into your life, male or female, who now draws you away from the word, draws you away from prayer, draws you away from fellowship, draws you away from winning souls, draws you away from giving. Now you find it more convenient to give to that person or that thing than even God. Be careful. So Jesus instructs the crowd to focus on eternal life and spiritual nourishment. We must be productive in these 5 areas: in the word, in prayer, in fellowshipping, in soul winning, and in giving. These are pillars and foundations of our faith. These become the foundation upon which you build a godlike character in his image and likeness. And it provokes the presence of God to be with you, so that as you go through life, he becomes your guiding influence. Have you ever wondered why sometimes when people are broke, they seem to find the church a place to be? Because it's as if we don't have anything. So this one, God. Then by the grace of God, God begins to bless them. You see, in their mind, those things replace God. So once they get what they want, they leave God. As you come to church, nobody knows your heart. That is why you must guard your heart with jealous care. Because if you are blessed, what would you do with it? Have you ever asked yourself? Maybe you are looking for a husband, you are looking for a wife. Will it take you away from God? You are looking for a job. Would it take you now away from the things of God? And there's a lot to learn about David, Joseph, Daniel, and how they stood against temptations. And how no matter what, God was their mainstay. May God become your God. They that know the Lord their God, they shall be strong. So when you are tested in the day of adversity, and all of a sudden it draws you away, you find out that you may be here, but you are not strong. You must be rooted. You must be strong. Nothing must move you. What shall separate us from the love of God? Keep in mind the foundations that become an anchor of your faith. Is somebody hearing me? Good. So in the realm of work, as we started last week, don't confuse activity and productivity. Activity is a motion. And I explained to you, it's like a door. It swings, but it's always at the same place. But productivity moves you. So you can be coming to church, but you never move. You are still at the same place, stuck. Because you are involved in activity. But what God wants us is to be productive. To bring forth fruit that remains. There must be evidence that you are rooted and you have died and you have produced fruit. Productivity means you are channeling your physical and mental efforts towards the successful completion of a task. And unfortunately, most people view work in terms of activity and not productivity. And people who are poor, usually that's their attitude. Oh, I'll go to work. I came to work. I went to church. But at the end of the day, no results. So for your own good, you need to ask yourself, since I started coming to church, what has been the evidence? What has been results? What have I produced? Look at it financially. Look at it spiritually. Look at it with souls. You've been a Christian for 10 years, not one soul. You've been a Christian for 10 years. What's your giving like? What's your prayer like? Till you honestly assess yourself and examine yourself, you may just be swinging and never make progress. The richest people in the world, we have learned, are involved in work in the fields of manufacturing and services, which involves the conversion of raw materials into finished products. They do not just sell raw materials, but they add value to them as a mark of excellence. So you have raw materials, raw prayer, raw word. What value have you added to it? What value have you added to your society? What value have you added to your family since you got born again? What value have you added to the church, to your department? This is work. And if we are talking about the work revolution, we need to have a revolution that changes a mindset of just activity into productivity. To create lasting wealth, every one of us must develop the ability to convert raw materials of learning into finished products of results. You're in the choir. What are your results? You're in the ashes. What are your results? You've been employed. What tangible thing do you add to your company? What do you add to where you are? And that's why I'm teaching this thing today. Every kind of work is meant to solve a problem and make life easier. People are employed to solve a problem in their area of work. So any kind of work you are engaged in that does not solve problem is not considered work. It's an exercise in futility. So you've got to ask yourself, what kind of problems do I solve? You must never join a company and be a problem. You must never join a department and be a problem. Remember, you are a solution. You are the light. Hello? So it's important we position ourselves to be productive. That if you employ me, I'm going to add value. That if I join this church, I'm going to add value. I'm not going to be a problem. That is not God's plan for your life. So once you become a problem and you become unfaithful, you are placing yourself out of God's will for your life. Say with me, I'm not a problem. Say, I'm a life giver. Say, I'm a solution. That is the nature with which we do anything. I'm a solution, I'm an addition, I'm a blessing. Hello? Okay. So, what problems do you solve? Do you solve simple problems or you solve complex problems? Your wages in life are determined by the kind of problems you solve. If the problems you solve are simple, you earn simple salary. If you begin to solve complex problems, you begin to earn value-added incomes. So don't just ask yourself, I've gotten a job. If your job gives you simple solutions, don't give up. It may be a starting point, but rise up and solve complex problems. Upgrade yourself to be more productive. So employees usually employ the services of people in their companies or businesses because they have identified a problem to solve. And work is only said to have been done when an identified problem has been solved by a worker. Are you following what I'm saying? Are you following? Good. You are not employed to just appear. You are employed to get results. You are not employed just to present your body. I've come. No. You are employed to work, to solve a problem. Many people look for a job not because they want to work, but because they want money. And it's important. God first expects you to bear fruit before he pays you. You see, unlike the world, where in a certain continent, people ask for money before they start working. God is not like that. God will only pay you after you have worked. Because that's the standard. So any country that begins to reverse it, you see, you have violated a divine order, you'll be broke. And many of us have brought it into church. If you do this for me, then I'll do this. God is not your level. He's wiser. He knows your heart. He knows you in particular. You have a track record. You've run away, he's allowed you. God, if you help me get this job, I will do this. Where are you? Now look at you. You can't even come for department meetings. You no longer read your Bibles. You no longer study. You now have an excuse not to be there. So you need to understand when it comes to God, work first. Work first. Before what you earn will be given to you. So you come to God with an attitude, I'm going to work. I'm going to work. So I'm going to give you 7 things that you must do to be productive. How many of you want to be productive? Okay. So remember, you are not employed to appear. You are employed to work to solve a problem. Number 1, if you want to be productive, the first thing is what I call the dominion mindset. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 6. The dominion mindset. I have a mindset. This is my mind. I came to work. I came to solve a problem. I didn't come to walk around. I am created to work. All that I've studied is equipping me to produce results. So if I come into your life, into your organization, into your company, I have come with a mindset to work. Nehemiah chapter 4 verse 6, it says, so built we the wall, and all the wall was joined together unto the half thereof. For the people had a mind to work. Nehemiah is building a wall. There's opposition. There's a lot of difficulty. But he says, we did it. We finished it. We built it. Why? Because the people had a mind to work. They thought we couldn't do it, but we did it. I hate to say this, but many people do not really want to work. You see, think about it carefully. When you are applying for a job, what is it that you are looking for? Money. Many people, I'm looking for a way to live. The mindset is not that, Charlie, I'm looking for a place to work, to use my talents, to use my efforts, to solve a problem. It's like I've sent an application. So the first thing that comes to your mind is, the salary is not good. Because it reveals a mindset. And this drive for poor people, forgive me, is a major hindrance to development. Because I'll tell you something in life. Most of the time, your first job will not give you what you expect. In fact, your first job, they know that you don't know anything, so they are doing you a favor. But when you get your first job and you start proving a point, believe you me, your salary may double or triple. So if you have an attitude, the salary is low. In fact, your first job, because you want to work, even if they don't pay you, work. You have no idea the things many successful people have done just to get a foothold into a workplace. Just to get a foothold, to show what they can offer. You think anybody offered David anything to kill the bear? To kill the lion? No. So you have to learn to have the mindset, I want to work. I want to work. That is what I want to do, to work. Money is a reward for work. Money is not an incentive to work. Did you hear me? Oh, come on, did you hear me? When I've worked, I'll be rewarded. That's God's plan. And the value of my work will determine the reward I get. But let me work. Let me show you what I can do. I'm not afraid to show you. And if you are an excellent worker, believe you me, after you have worked and the person looks at your work, most of the patriarchs in the Bible, they were slaves and they were not being paid. Joseph, Daniel, Esther, Nehemiah were slaves. What was it that changed their lives? Their work. So Daniel is in captivity. Joseph is in Potiphar's house. You are not on a regular salary, but in the midst of the fact, look at Jacob and Laban. He says, you've changed my wages 10 times. Work. Work. Have a mindset, I will work. Don't just look for money and fame. What does it mean to have the mindset? It means I have studied to gain mastery of a subject. So what I have studied, I can use it to serve me. I went to school to learn engineering. Now engineering will serve me. I went to school to learn accounting. Now, because I've gained mastery of it, accounting will now serve me. I will use it to serve me. I was a servant and I became a master, and that thing became my servant. It's important for us to understand I'm learning about wood. I'm a servant. But when I've come out and graduated, wood now is my servant. And I use it to send it to bring me money. I'm a secretary. I type. I was learning how to type as a student. But when I graduated, I have now gained mastery over the typewriter or the computer. And I use it as a servant to serve me. Can you understand it? That is why you talk about dominion. Because it means mastery over what you do. If you are not good and you don't learn hard or you don't study hard or you don't master what you are doing, you will still become a slave to that thing. And it will not pay you. It will determine your life. But when you gain mastery, you become Lord over that thing. So if you're a hairdresser, don't just be a nominal hairdresser. Want to be a hairdresser who has gained mastery of hairdressing. Not that I am the pastor, so as for me, dear, no, I must work with who I am. I am the head of this department. Listen, work. That's all. And when you are not afraid of work, you see, God will bless work. God doesn't bless efforts. God blesses work. So as long as you don't learn how to work, and you are not prepared to work, because work is not a substitute for prayer, and prayer is not a substitute for work. You can't pray and expect results. You must work to get certain results. Hello? Okay. So it is important that a mechanical engineer must be able to exercise dominion in his area of work by solving the problems that arise in his field. We must become masters of our fields of specialization. Don't just get a certificate and not be able to work. The second thing to do if you want to be productive is investment. Somebody say mindset. Say investment. So if you want to be productive, you must be ready to invest in your work. Every worker must dominate his work with his core skills. In order for you to dominate your work, you must invest in pursuing knowledge. Yeah. And also perfecting your core skills. It is incumbent on anyone studying or learning a particular profession to cultivate a passionate desire for knowledge in that area of specialization. What you say you are, hairdresser, seamstress, tailor, carpenter, banker. Are you investing in that profession? Are you buying books? Are you reading? Are you doing research? Apart from what your school taught you. And as I end with great people, you find out that every great person beyond school invests personally in what he wants to do. You invest your time. So you want to be a singer. How much time do you spend? How many books have you got about singing? How many courses do you attend about it? You see, apart from choir rehearsal, where somebody teaches you a little, what's your personal investment? You say, oh, I want to be a chef. So I go for classes. Apart from what they teach you, what other investment do you make? Every time, I don't have money, I can't buy books, so as for me, I can't go for extra classes. You see, what personal investment do you make? When you come to church and you hear the word, what personal investment do you make in the study of the word? Yet you say, I want to be a pastor. What is your investment like? What's your investment like? I want to be the best drummer. What's your investment like? It doesn't happen overnight. It takes investment, personal investment. Get more knowledge, get more tools, invest in books, equipment, and any other resource which will help or aid you in grasping all you need to know in the profession. You do not have to be satisfied with information given to you only by your teachers. You must go the extra mile to educate yourself and learn more than you are taught if you want to exercise dominion. If you want to be productive, you must be a step ahead. Seek the right information. Ask the right questions. Wow. You can only dominate and you can only be productive if you have superior knowledge to solve problems in your field. So all of you went to school. All of you can repair that machine. But all of a sudden, there's another, because that's what we were all taught. But then there's a problem that you were not taught in school. But when you came out of school and you were investing, you met that problem. You saw that problem and you solve it. It puts you a step ahead. If the problem you can solve, everybody else can solve it. Believe you me, you'll remain unemployed. If all you have, we all went to the university, we all have a certificate. But when it comes to solving problems, you are not a step ahead. You remain unemployed. Somebody hear me? So you invest in yourself. And the good thing about personal investment is that when you invest in yourself, nobody can take it out of you. They can change your location, but you carry there. They can take your dress, they can ask you to leave your house, they can decide they'll sack you, but you carry your investment everywhere you go. It's yours. Nobody can take it from you. Wherever I go, what I know and what I have is in me. It is not, if you take away my dress, because of what I know and what I can solve, I'll get another dress. There are too many people who, since they finish school, don't do personal investment. I can imagine, for example, a footballer who says, I can't buy my own boots. I can imagine an instrumentalist who doesn't have his own instrument. I can imagine a photographer who doesn't have a camera. And I can imagine a farmer who's not prepared to invest in tools. There are some things that you are given. There are other things you must invest. Number 3. The third thing, if you want to be productive, is that you must be abreast with latest knowledge, current knowledge, latest developments and technology. Imagine a student who wants to write and become a professional playwright, who has never read about the latest stories, who doesn't even know Shakespeare. How many of you know Shakespeare? Is he a boxer or a footballer? Okay. So you need to know the latest contributor in the area in which you want to excel in. So you are reading, you are current, the latest magazine, the latest style, the latest design, the latest method of solving the problem. Continuous learning of new techniques and knowledge is the way to go for anyone who wants to dominate his work. Being current is the currency of life. You cannot afford to be ignorant in today's world. The world is looking for people who can solve their problems, not people with titles or certificates. You must pursue knowledge. Pursue it. Invest in it. Be abreast with latest trends, latest technologies. And it takes a personal effort. I want to be productive. I want to achieve results. Number 4. The fourth way to be productive is to sharpen and perfect your skills. If you want to exercise dominion, you must sharpen and perfect your skills. You must learn how to grow yourself. You must learn how to groom yourself. The level of skills you possess is going to determine the level of problems you solve. So, for example, I cannot expect a primary school student to solve university mathematics problem because his skill and his talents and his education is only at the primary school level. So he's looking to be made the managing director, but his skills are only at a certain level. If he wants to be able to move his life, he must sharpen his skills. He must groom himself. He must perfect what he does. And it takes a lot of time and effort to do that. So, you want to be the best singer? You want to be the best drummer? You want to be the best footballer? You want to be the best pastor? You want to be the best cell leader? You see, you must sharpen your skills. So, it is not enough just to say, I have a talent. Sharpen it. Sharpen it. Before David could defeat Goliath, he had to take years of silent preparation and practice with a sling in the wilderness where he kept his father's sheep. His victory over the gigantic Philistine was not by chance. The selection of 5 stones and the first throw of the sling were all done out of experience, which had taken years to build and to master. If you want to sharpen your skills, preparation is what is required. And sometimes when you are preparing, the times of preparation are not evident, but the fruits will become evident by everybody. I mean, sometimes I look at some ministers and ask myself, when do they prepare? When did they, how do they prepare? But you find out that there are a lot of things that are done in secret that nobody sees. How did somebody become so skillful in playing the violin? How did somebody become so skillful in playing the organ? Because there's a lot of preparation. A lot of preparation. Yes. Repeated practice, constant retraining and refining of your skills makes you perfect. By perfecting your skills, you are able to solve the major problems that confront you in your line of work. The first thing that David had in his life was to be invited to play for the king. I mean, there were every king has instrumentalists in his court. But there was a problem that the instrumentalists in their court, the trained ones, couldn't solve. Then they said, there is somebody. He's been practicing and practicing and practicing. He's in the bush. Then they said, let's bring him. You see, what you are doing that nobody sees, just that thing is what is going to take you out and bring you into the palace. You think nobody sees when you are praying? You think nobody sees when you are studying? You think nobody sees when you are... God sees it, and at the right time, He will bring you out. He will create an opportunity. He will disturb the ecosystem and make a need that only you. You've been sowing, making sure that everything you sow, sharpening your skills, repeated practice, retraining yourself. Then somebody goes abroad and becomes the head of a designing company and then remembers and says, when I was in Choco, there was a seamstress there that was, no. Let's bring her out. You were in prison, but you didn't dull your skills. You sharpened your skills of interpretations. And even in prison, you were manifesting a spirit of excellence. Then the guys you manifested left you and they were brought out of prison. For 2 years, it looks as if nothing was happening. But then one day, the king had a dream and they remembered. You think your singing will be remembered? You think your dancing will be remembered? You think your ushering will be remembered? Because what we do today does not only have results for today. Did you hear me? Yeah. Does not only have... You see, if you are just looking at today, you will miss the mark. You will be frustrated. But our works will speak for us. So the mistakes you make today, correct them. Because in the next 3 years, you will be remembered. What will you be remembered for? Mistakes or perfection? I can tell you about Michael Jordan, the great American basketball player. He had to practice for 5 hours, 5 days a week, to perfect his skills. Muhammad Ali took his training seriously right from his school days. In the morning, he will go running and then will work out at the gym in the evening. When the gym closed at 8 p.m., he will go and train in another boxing gym. Practice, practice, practice. I used to stand in front of a mirror watching myself preach. I remember those days, and I'll be speaking to myself because I didn't have a congregation. And I'll be speaking to myself, watching my movements. I'll practice how to script my messages, how to express myself. Practice, practice, practice. Because I want to have dominion. I want to yield results. Everybody must prepare. Singers, ushers, prayer warriors, invest in what you are doing. And then number 5 is to leave the world of excuses. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 13. You see, an excuse is the reason which explains our inability to perform. So if you are going to be productive, you have to learn to leave the world of excuses. I don't have an excuse. I don't have an excuse. What you ask me to do, I don't have an excuse. I must do it. You know, there are too many people, the weather, the sun, my mother, my girlfriend, my job. And unfortunately, when people start talking like that, they start lying. So you're a Christian, you started lying. So you find out that work has a very close relationship with people who lie. Poverty. No, let me explain. Poverty is a very close relationship with lying. Why didn't you do your homework? The lights went out too. Why didn't you wake up early? The weather. Oh, you have excuses. I know. Why didn't you come to church today? Pastor, around 7 o'clock I got a call and I was a bit confused. And my mother sent me. Started bringing your mother into your lives. You see, why don't you achieve anything for yourself? Why can't you get things done? Because there's always an excuse. Why didn't you sing well? Why didn't you pay your school fees? Why didn't you do your homework? So if you want to be an achiever, listen, the reasons are there. The weather is there. The sun is there. The lights are out. But Charlie, leave the world of excuses. Because one of the things I've learned is our work is intended to solve a problem and make life comfortable. And therefore, if you want to have a comfortable life, you must not have an excuse. Just work. In Proverbs chapter 22, verse 13, it says, the slothful man, the lazy man, this is what he says, there's a lion without, and if I go outside, I shall be slain in the streets. You see, this verse describes the excuses of a lazy man. He uses a hypothetical presence of a lion to avoid going out and facing the challenges of the day. This excuse is unfounded. It is over-exaggerated. How many of you have ever gone out of your house and met a lion? No, I'm serious. How many of you have ever seen a lion? Apart from pictures. Very few. In Choco, I can say 0.001%. Yet this man, when he's asked, why won't you go out today? He says, there's a lion in the streets. So. There's a lion in the streets. Now, anybody in his right senses who sees a lion, who will go out? So, but he manufactures a lie. He manufactures a reason. And usually, most of the excuses that people give, why didn't you go on outreach? You ask yourself, why haven't you gone on outreach? Why haven't you won a soul? If you have excuses, why aren't you learning the weather? Why didn't you wake up early? This, why didn't you go to this? Oh, I couldn't do it. Why didn't you deliver the laundry on time? Why didn't you achieve this? And you have excuses. At the end of the day, it impoverishes you. Anybody who wants to achieve anything, go to Kokompe, go to Agbogloshi. Usually by 4 a.m., you find the market women. It's not cold for them. It's not dark for them. Yet you wake up at 4 a.m. to study. You wake up at 4 a.m. to pray. No. Go to the fields and see people who wake up at 4 a.m. and go and queue to go and watch football. They don't have excuses. But you find out why you haven't gone on outreach. You manufacture lions on the streets. If you want to do well, leave the world of excuses. Say with me, I'm leaving the world of excuses. Number 6, let your work speak. Matthew chapter 7, verse 20. It says, wherefore by their fruits you shall know them. Let your work speak for you. A major way to silence your critics is to solve problems with your work. The more you achieve results from your work, the less critics you have around you. When it comes to work, it's not about what you say, but about what you do. Let me give you a practical example of people whose work speak for them. There's a lady called Rowling. She wrote Harry Potter series. Earlier in her career, this woman faced rejection and criticism from publishers and literary agents. Despite this, she continued to write against hope. She believed in herself. She continued to write and produce high-quality work. When the Harry Potter series gained popularity, her success spoke, silencing critics and proving her talents. She was rejected by 12 publishing houses, and yet she went ahead to sell over 500 million copies of her books worldwide. 500 million. If one book is even $1, it means that the woman earned $500 million. You're not the only person who faces rejection. I've tried, it's not working. I've tried, I can't win a soul. I've tried, you don't know. The soul you are going to win will be the person who will end up being the blessing to you for life. They criticized her writing skill, but she won numerous awards. She was accused of being a single mother living on welfare, but became one of the most successful authors in her world. I can talk about Dede Ayew. Prior to the 2009 Under-20 World Cup in Egypt, Dede Ayew was heavily criticized by the media in Ghana. Some viewed him as an inexperienced player. Others called him arrogant. He silenced his critics when he was the person who led the Under-20 national team to win the Under-20 World Cup. The first time ever for an African country. And he remains one of the most admired young players in the world today. You see, do things that silence people. Let your work speak for you. Because of what I've achieved, you don't like me, but it speaks. I've decided to become productive. You don't like my face, you don't like my trousers. I didn't go to I don't quote Bible as much as you quote, but look at my souls. Look at my evidence. You say you went to school, me, I didn't go to school. No, you don't even like me. You don't like the way I talk. You say I don't speak well, but look at my results. Souls. Souls. That is why God will use fishermen. That is why God will use people who didn't go to school, shepherd boys, to silence the world. 12 men. They didn't have the qualifications we had, yet they turned the world upside down. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 4. By faith, Abel offered unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. The guy is dead and gone, yet the works he did remains. A major way to immortalize yourself is to live a work that outlives you. You see, when you are no longer here, let's say you travel outside the country or you leave the church and people join the church, will they ever know you? Will they ever remember your work in this church? You see, you must have worked in a way that even when you are dead, people will come and say, we remember Apostle Ntumi of Pentecost and what he brought into the church. We remember this Pastor Bernard and what he brought into Choco. I may be dead and gone. We remember a Dr. Mensah Otabil. He's no longer alive, but look at the impact. We remember a Kwame Nkrumah, Nelson Mandela. They are dead and gone, but their works live on. You know, there are people who come to church and they leave. You don't even remember them. There are people who work in an organization and they leave. Nobody remembers them. There are people who sew a dress for you and even when we don't miss them. But when it comes to God, you see, we do permanent work. And I say this very soberly. I've had people come to me about messages I preached. I was with Pastor Bo. We were going to a particular place. And we got into the lift. And this girl ran from her office and ran to me. And said she was a student of IC Central. And she remembers in 2014, I came to preach a message that changed her life. I haven't seen her since then, till when we met her. But she can still remember. You see, can people remember you? That you were the one who came to build my house after you are gone? Can people remember you that you were the usher who ushered me? Because you left such a pleasant memory. Can people remember you and say, you were the one who did this in my life? It's changed my life and left something. Don't go through life wanting to be ordinary. You do things, you're always in a hurry. Nobody knows you. Everything you do, shoddily, quickly. You do this, nobody. No. You work in somebody's house, Charlie. Leave an indelible footprint. You pray for somebody. Paro sakatonde reketaya. You speak to somebody. You serve somebody. There must be something that must be remembered around you. You are the usher who is ushering people. They remember your smile. They remember your professionalism. They remember how they felt so comfortable around you. You sang a song on stage and everybody remembers. But people don't have a mindset that I want to be productive. So everything is just an activity. When I cook for you, the way you lick your fingers, when I cut your hair, when I shine your shoe, when I clean your office, you see, that is Nehemiah, that is Daniel, that is Joseph. A legacy. Long after you are dead and gone, it says, God, you are dead, but your work speaketh. I don't ever want to be associated with a shoddy work. I don't. It's one of the things that, no, you may not like me, but don't criticize my work. Let my work speak. Because when people don't have a work mentality, they don't care. But let us remember, a work speaks about a person. So Jesus said, if you don't want to believe me, the works I do, they speak for me. I heal the sick, I raise the dead, I turn families around, destinies have been changed. The works speak. And so as a church, we've come to a point, you lead a prayer meeting. You fast. You see, everything we do must be productive. That is why in this month of September, we want to be productive. So let's quickly, what are the 7 areas of your life to be productive in? Number 1, the dominion mindset. Number 2, investment. Number 3, be abreast with current knowledge, latest development, and technology. Number 4, sharpen and perfect your skills. Number 5, leave the world of excuses. Number 6, let your work speak. And number 7, work to leave a legacy. Shall we rise on our feet?